Good morning, everybody. In the United Kingdom, MPs have made a terrible, terrible decision, and that is to allow assisted dying or euthanasia, or as it should be called, assisted killing. The actual name of the bill that they passed is called the Terminally Ill Adults End of Life Bill, but all the safeguards they say that they've got in place in that bill can be torn up and scrapped by a future Secretary of State for Health. And as we know, whenever this has been brought in, whenever euthanasia, assisted dying, assisted killing, whatever you like to call it, has been brought in, they say it's just for terminally ill adults who are in great pain. And I understand the compassion people have in that situation. But the remit is immediately and greatly expanded wherever it's been brought in. The first country in Europe, in the EU anyway, to bring it in was the Netherlands and Belgium as well. Both of those countries introduced it in the year 2000, followed by Luxembourg in 2009, Spain in 2021, Portugal in 2023. Of course, Switzerland has had it for a very long time. People in the UK can fly out to Switzerland and go to the Dignitas clinic and they take some medicine, whatever. It's not medicine, take some poison to kill them. Some people do that. And of course, Canada is well known for introducing medical assistance in dying in 2016. And under that program, we've seen a horrendous inflation of the number of people who are killed, not just people who are terminally ill in great pain, but now it's even been suggested for people who are homeless or have mental health issues like depression, anxiety, personality disorders, etc. They're made medical assistance in dying to kill them, to bump them off because they're homeless or because they've got mental health issues. I don't like the word mental health because it covers over a whole range of actual conditions and conflates them with, just things that aren't mental health issues like grief and so on. You can get very upset if you're bereaved, of course, but that's not a mental health issue. That's just a normal thing, but it often gets conflated. That's a whole other issue. But in the UK here, we have now MPs voted 330 for assisted killing and 275 against. Well, I'd like to thank those 275 MPs who voted against this bill to keep the situation that we've got, which is one of the last tenets of social conservatism that hadn't been broken in law, but now it has, or it's on the way to getting broken in law. And what we see in terms of the parties is very interesting. Now, I often berate the fake conservatives because they're not conservative in any way, shape or form. But yesterday, they actually did have quite a large majority voting against the bill and to maintain euthanasia being illegal, doctors killing their patients being illegal. It's illegal under the Offences Against the Person Act 1861, of course, written 2 centuries ago, 1.5 centuries ago. And that is fantastic legislation written in a time when the United Kingdom was profoundly Christian and everything was based on Christian principles. And the principle you have and everybody understood was that it's wrong to kill somebody, whatever situation somebody is in, whether that's an unborn baby or someone at the end of their life who needs high quality palliative care in their last few days, weeks or months. That was the understanding. It's wrong to kill someone, and if you did kill someone or help someone to kill themselves, then you would be committing an offence and you would be brought before the courts, tried and imprisoned for murder or something that is equivalent to murder. So that's the basis of law that we have, coming from a time where people were morally superior to how they are today. But actually, I hear is about 90 out of 121 Conservative MPs voted against the bill to maintain the fact that killing someone is wrong. So there's a majority there, which surprised me. But, obviously there's a number of them. 1/4 of them voted for this bill who are progressives. This legislation is being rolled out across the world now. The powers that be want it brought in everywhere, particularly in Western countries first. I can't see them, getting this through in Saudi Arabia or Iran or India or China or Nigeria. They're not going to implement this. But it's Western countries they want to implement euthanasia and assisted killing. But there we go. So that was the fake Conservative Party. Surprisingly, showing a little sign of conservatism there. I'm not praising them at all, because on almost everything else they've been dreadful, and they still are in most policy areas. They're nothing different to the other parties. But then we have Labour and the Lib Dems. They voted overwhelmingly in favour of this. A majority of them voted in favour of assisted killing, as did Reform UK. They've got 5 MPs, and 3 of them voted to allow medical practitioners to be able to kill their patients. So if you're looking for a Conservative party, an alternative Conservative party to the fake Conservatives, a party that is socially conservative, Reform UK clearly are not socially conservative, because the majority of their MPs voted for doctors and medical practitioners to be able to kill or help to kill their patients under certain circumstances. And as I said, that remit from just terminally ill adults in pain will expand. It always does, as we've seen in the Netherlands, Belgium and Canada. The Heritage Party that I lead is the only party that is socially conservative that has as a party policy that we are against euthanasia, we're against abortion, we're against redefinition of marriage, as happened in 2013 in this country, and we're against the transgender agenda, and especially rolling this out in schools and confusing children about the difference between male and female and 79 genders and all this other kind of stuff. It all goes together, because this is all about undermining Christian values, traditional values, what everybody accepted as right and good before. Marriage was a man and a woman. There are 2 sexes, male and female, and it's wrong to kill people, whether you're an adult, whether you're an unborn child, or whether you're at the end of your life. Those are Christian ethics that everybody not signed up for, but agreed with. And most people are still agreed with 30 or 40 years ago. But now that's being broken, and it's been broken by the fake Conservatives, Labour, Lib Dem, Green and Reform, all working together to undermine traditional values, Christian values in this country. So if you want this to be restored, if you want the offences under the Person Act to be upheld, if you want these principles that we don't kill in our society to be upheld, you need to join the Heritage Party. You need to stand for the Heritage Party, support candidates standing for the Heritage Party, and vote for us wherever we can possibly stand. We had 41 candidates in the last general election in July. If all of those candidates had been voted in, now all of those candidates would have been MPs. They would have voted against this bill. They probably would have had enough to swing it the other way. So I'm just asking the end, please support us if you want these traditional values and principles, Christian principles, socially conservative principles, upheld, or restored and upheld in our nation, because no other party is going to do it. Reform UK have proven that they are all in with the socially liberal progressive agenda yesterday. So it's a terrible day for our country. This applies to England and Wales. It's a terrible vote. It was the second reading in the House of Commons, so it's not law yet. Let's hope for a miracle that this can be changed. It will go to committee stage, report stage. There will be another vote under third reading in the House of Commons. That's the end of the process there. If it gets voted through again on the third reading, then, probably MPs don't normally change their mind between the second reading and the third reading unless there's something, drastic and obvious comes up. To me, it's obvious this is wrong, but obviously 330 MPs do not have a moral compass. Then it goes to the Lords, so they have to consider it, scrutinise it, vote on it a couple of times. And so I don't know what's going to happen in the Lords. The Lords may vote against it. But the trouble is you've got so many progressive, culturally Marxist Lords have been stuffed in there by Tony Blair and Gordon Brown and David Cameron and Boris Johnson. They've filled the Lords with progressive cronies who are all into diversity, equality, inclusion. I suppose that includes people being allowed to kill people. So I don't know. I don't have much faith anymore in the Lords to actually scrutinise things properly and correctly and uphold the values which we're supposed to have in this country. It was still nominally a Christian country, constitutionally a Christian country. So that's what they should uphold. But we shall see if it goes through the third reading in the Commons, and if it goes through the Lords, then it goes to the King, and he gives it royal assent. And, obviously he's the last person who will have to agree with this. And the King, the Queen, the monarch has not disagreed with or refused to sign into law anything coming from Parliament for a very long time, since the early 1800s. So it's very unlikely that King Charles is going to sort of put his refusal on this if it goes to him after going through the Commons and the Lords. So this is where we are. And it's horrendous, because we now are in a country which has legalised murder. And they're allowing a medical practitioner, this could be a doctor, a nurse, could even be a pharmacist or a healthcare assistant, or someone with some medical training, a paramedic even, to be able to administer a poison to someone and kill them. This is not where we should be going as a country. So once again, please support us in the Heritage Party to stand against this, to oppose it, to get into a position of power in Parliament and to repeal this law. And that's one of the first things we will do if we can. Thanks for listening, everybody, and God bless you all.